Hey everyone, back with another BMFcast Rewind episode, and if you're new here, this is a show I do for the BMFcast Patreon, where I'm reviewing the movies that the guys covered before I came on board. This time it's episode 5 of the Bad Movie Fiends podcast, and for reasons I'm not yet clear on, they picked Southland Tales. Probably because it was becoming known as one of those bad movies around that time, and it would make sense for the early BMFcast to cover it. Southland Tales is Richard Kelly's next film after Donnie Darko, a movie I've revisited within the last couple of years and confirmed I definitely still love. Southland Tales, though, is a film I very much do not love, but this makes my 4th viewing of it, so there has to be something about it. Before I get too far into this, I've actually talked about Southland Tales on the podcast before, briefly.
Before I get to the marathoning that I did, I watched Southland Tales again.
I'm sorry.
Which I saw when it came out and then, wasn't here for the episode that you guys did.
Gotcha.
Man, that movie is a train wreck. It just, what?
It's several different kinds of train wrecks,
It's all kinds of train wrecks. It's so proud in its ineptitude of just, not telling a story, but it's telling it so hard. Guys, this is the most uber important, cool shit movie ever, but fuck all if I know what's happening in it, because, and I get it, there's graphic novels I have to read, but whatever, I'm not going to.
Well said.
It's just, but even after watching it, I was like, you know what? I'd give that guy another shot.
To what?
Make Southland Tales.
Oh.
Take what you've learned from that hideous train wreck of a movie you made and do it again. Same actors, everything. Do it again.
Do you
Make it
learn
right.
anything from that movie?
Wait. No.
From making that movie?
I think he learned what not to do.
Do you?
Although
really?
then he made the box, which was even worse. But
well, wait, what? How's the box worse?
Oh, the box is fucking terrible, dude.
I saw it. What's terrible about it?
The box is terrible.
It's mediocre at best.
That it takes such a good story
Mediocre
and then
at
tacks
best
on another hour to it.
It's close to terrible.
It makes that short story into
it's
bullshit.
Average. I don't know. It's just,
I love that short story so much, and then what they turned it into is just
so it's that sort of thing. I don't know. It just doesn't.
It was a 30-minute episode of The Twilight Zone that was perfect, and then it's we got to add another hour to it, and it's just
I don't know. I mean, compared to Southland, you're saying it's worse than Southland Tales. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, I Southland Tales, as bad as it is strangely watchable. Yeah. It is fascinating to watch. Wow, this is a thing. This just full speed ahead, and we don't know what we're doing.
I mean, I don't know. Other than the musical bit, most of Southland Tales feels like a. I mean, wow, you got to watch this in almost the Ford Fairlane. I don't want to watch this travesty of thing.
I don't know. There's nothing really in it that's insulting.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's on the level of it's a train wreck, but I don't necessarily want to watch it.
No, and I mean, it had been 6 years since I saw it, and it'll probably be at least another 6 before I have maybe I should give that another shot. But
I honestly haven't even gone back and watched Donnie Darko since I've seen Southland Tales. That's how much that movie hurt me. I was I
haven't either.
Because that's the thing is I know Donnie Darko has its staunch defenders and its staunch haters, and I'm on the side of that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, and I kind of don't want to taint it with my view of him post Southland Tales. I just kind of want to leave it at that and be I enjoyed it when I watched it. I don't care beyond that.
Yeah, I liked Donnie Darko.
Yeah, that's really where I'm at with that. That's just how much I dislike Southland Tales.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, a unique experience, again, just watching a movie that's a total mess, and
sure,
a mess from the opening frame. Just we don't know.
I've made some points there that I'm going to expand upon. First, yes, Southland Tales is a mess from the opening seconds, and it never gets straightened out. The film was a proposed multimedia franchise which included graphic novels and the like, telling the backstories of these characters and the film's universe, which is sort of our own, up until a point, and then it veers way off into science fiction fantasy land. For example, George W. Bush exists both in this universe and is satirized in the mannerisms of one of our main characters, Senator Frost, who is running to be vice president. Anyway, Kelly tries to cram some of this backstory into the first few minutes of the film, but it's incomprehensible. You'll be lost by the 5-minute mark. And the notion that we're supposed to read your unknown properties graphic novels before seeing your film is just lunacy. I stand by my statement of wanting Richard Kelly to get another crack at this, knowing everything he knows now. I don't mean a recut version of the film either. I mean a brand new filmed version. Same story, just told smarter and more efficiently. And I think it should use much of the main cast, as The Rock and Justin Timberlake just weren't ready for these roles at that stage of their careers, but definitely would be now. Initially, I was going to include Seann William Scott in that assessment, but I think he's quite effective here, and his performance, given what he's being asked to do, is solid enough. The supporting cast, though, is one of Southland Tales' biggest weaknesses. Somehow, the through line of much of the movie is the underground struggle between two opposing political factions, composed mostly of former Saturday Night Live cast members, which is a huge distraction and also doesn't give any of these people the weight their characters demand. I mean, for over half of the nearly 2.5-hour film, its main villains are Sherry O'Terry and John Lovitz. It's not all that bad, though. Christophe Lambert has a brief role as an arms salesman, and you get what you want from him, including that famous Lambert laugh.
Dion Element. Authorities believe that Element then turned the gun on himself.
Also, John Larroquette is surprisingly good as one of the senator's aides. I wish he'd had more to do. The best scene in Southland Tales is when it inexplicably becomes a musical as Timberlake strolls around an arcade while lip-syncing to the Killers song All These Things That I've Done. To me, true movie magic happens when a movie that's not a musical suddenly becomes one, for just one song. I can't explain why this is the most amazing thing movies can do for me, but I just know that every time it does, it prompts an immediate adrenaline rush. Like, is this really happening? Am I seeing this? Is anyone else seeing this? I love that reaction. I just love it. This brings me to my biggest conflict with Southland Tales, though. There are quite a few great scenes in it. Like, really great isolated moments along the way. The musical bit, the bit where The Rock's two lovers have some kind of dance battle. The problem is that none of them make any sense as a whole. They don't gel together into a complete narrative. They're just a series of visually fascinating, momentarily genius, but ultimately disappointing moments. I mean, the last 5 seconds of this movie are this kind of fist-pumping fuck yeah rush, but then you're like, wait, hold up, what did that even mean? What just happened? It's like the tone of all the words in the script are correct, but the words themselves are some kind of alien language. I struggled with how I'm going to rate Southland Tales on the BMFcast scale, but I think I'm going to do what I've done with many other movies like this. I'm giving Southland Tales a single jocks, because as disappointing as it is, I think it's a movie worth watching at least once. It should be shown in film studies classes every bit as often as some great movie, because dissecting what works and what doesn't in Southland Tales is just as important as embracing the good stuff. You have to know why something doesn't work in order to further cement what does work about the things you like. I don't mean that in a piling on, here's a thing we can rip to shreds way, though. I think Southland Tales deserves serious critical deconstruction. Speaking of serious critical deconstruction, let's see what the gang thought. Back in a moment. So, they were confused by Southland Tales, sometimes amusingly so, but Mackie really hated it, saying it replaced Summer of Sam as the worst movie he's ever seen. Blame seems to fall on drugs, really, implying that Richard Kelly was on the drugs. Harlow doesn't hate it, despite thinking it's an atrocity of some kind, and BJ comments that for the first time in BMFcast history, he took 0 notes about the film, and that no one was even making jokes during the viewing. They do agree that the Killer's musical number is the best scene in the movie, and amusingly, they realize that the story of Ricky remains the best movie they've watched so far, although that's about to change in the very next episode. As I try to wrap up my own thoughts about Southland Tales, I'm perplexed as to what genre to even call the film. Sci-fi, sure. Musical, technically for one scene, absolutely. Some places also call it a comedy, which, I mean, I only cracked a smile at The Rock's random wrestling promo acting.
Evacuate the atrium, move to the rear of the Mega Zeppelin.
No! Everybody, go back to your seats!
Or I kill myself, and I swear to God, I'll do it.
Ultimately, Southland Tales is its own thing. Not a good thing, but its own unique thing. There's some good stuff here, but it's too much of a mess to be summed up as anything else but disappointing.